Let's just do it, yeah. Let's dive in. I hate to go wait too long, and we'll start off slow, and then we'll progressively move along faster in the slides. Only slides today. The last session we did a little demo, so this is a little less hands-on, which we can just talk as we go. Raise questions as we go along the way. There's a lot of things that are cobbled together to build this tool, but they're all really easy to use, and there are probably a lot of things you guys already use. So let's dive in. Right off the bat, we always want to know how we're driving, so evaluations, if you guys have those towards the end, in the middle, fill them out. Let me know, let the team know. I like to start off right off the bat to tell you how crazy my life is outside of work. Those are my 6 kids and my wife. So a lot going on there. We've got the 2 girls on the corners, if you were playing bingo, and then the rest are all lunatic children, lunatic boys, 14 to 1. So, and my brave and wonderful wife at the top. So if I was doing a LinkedIn and logos, the places I've worked, just real quickly gives you an idea from being that bagger stalker boy over at Albertsons, handing out the videos and the late fees at Blockbuster, saying thank you for calling America Online over and over and over again, and then working at Motorola when we had the Razor. We thought we were cool, and then they found out about the iPhone, and we weren't so cool anymore. And then eventually at ASU, Arizona State?
From Chandler.
Okay, yes. So I lived in Gilbert and Chandler for a long time.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Was Motorola there?
Motorola, yeah, they were still there. But I was there, they were, hey, we're the greatest ever, the Razor phone, and then it all went away. It all disappeared. Oh, nice. That's right. Absolutely. So, ASU, I worked at the Biodesign Institute. You guys probably have seen that building, the big glass building. We're building a brand new one. I know the guys, a lot of the guys that still work there. I worked there for 7 years. Handled software and web development for them for a long time. About 3 or 4 years ago, my wife said, I'm tired of being in the heat. I'm from Colorado, so let's head back up north. And that's when I found a job at Larimer County. So it's my first government job. So a little bit about where Larimer County is, for those that don't know. There's my daily wardrobe. I'm the host/webmaster for Larimer County. We're in the north part of the state, right up against Wyoming. So when that eclipse occurred, all that traffic came right through Larimer County, and then all the traffic went right back down the road. So this is why we made the move. We get to get out in the open spaces. We're not as close to Disneyland or the beach, but we've got the mountains, which also means we have the snow. Also means we have the need to tell people, employees, at about 5 o'clock in the morning, the city manager or county manager's there, and they have to make that phone call, and we have to get that information out to everybody right away. So previous method for sign up for these notifications, the employees would go to a form and fill it out and say, I'm with AT&T or I'm with Verizon, and we would cobble that phone number with their company's email, and we'd store it as an email address that sat on our server. And when we wanted to send out the notification, we had a form that used Cold Fusion, and it would read that database, and it would send it to the email system and just stack those up. 2,500 emails ready to go. And as you know, when you're sending out an email, there's a long line, and people are, those emails are waiting single file, which meant, hey, it's snow. There's a lot of snow on the ground. Let's go ahead and cancel for today. So you get out of bed, and you do your snow plow. You drive. You fight your way to get into the office. You hang up your jacket, probably log into your PC. And right then, hey, countywide, due to a blizzard, we're closing the county offices today. No one in their right mind would drive on the roads, and enjoy your day off as you're sitting there. So we'd have it where it would take 3 hours for employees or partners or vendors to get that message just because of the way it was built. So we roughed that. It was about 2 years ago where we were said, hey, we really need to do something. But then it got sunny. We forgot about it. Everyone was happy. We were out in the wilderness enjoying it. And then around September of last year, right after this conference, oh, hey, we should probably do something about that thing where we have the problem. And so we had a big decision to make. And if you've had these decisions to make, choose your own adventure. Did anybody ever read those growing up? Come on. So you decide right then and there, do we go out and spend money on a vendor tool? And there's a lot of great vendors that do this. There's Everbridge, ReadyOps, and we actually use these a lot for our emergency notifications. We have partnerships with another group called LIDA that does specifically that. But for what we wanted to do, we didn't want to set up a whole brand new infrastructure to do that, and we didn't want to spend the $50,000 that it took to start a relationship there. So we decided to do the in-house, and can we just kind of tweak this or rebuild it? You know, and the form part wasn't as crazy. We just wanted to make sure the form was available when we needed it, when you couldn't drive into work. So some considerations was money. Like I talked about, we didn't have $50K sit in our pocket we wanted to spend on it. We wanted to have some control on the tool, and we were lazy. We didn't want to do a lot of work and fill out a lot of forms or do a lot of overhead. There's also the idea of where does this data live? When you have a group of employees, you already have records for them somewhere. So we didn't want to create another database that they had to go sign up for. So we knew that we have a record-keeping system, our ticketing systems, where most people keep their information. So those are the considerations we start. ServiceNow is that ticketing system, and we knew there's the data. When this happens, we want to get it to these providers via SMS. But there's a big cavern, of course, in between, and we don't want to spend $50,000 to make it immensely easy. So, that's another presentation snuck in there. So our loose strategy, we had JotForm. We already pay the monthly fee. It's great because we can embed that form where we need it. We can build it on the fly, we can fine-tune it, and the teams could use it on their phone, anywhere they need to. So they can fill out a form. Zapier is a tool we used last year, and you can think of it as like the piece that fits everything together. So anything in the cloud that happens, you can send it to Zapier and trigger things that then goes to other cloud services. And I'll go more into that. But that last piece, we need to figure out how do we get that message to somebody's phone. And we just decided to look at Amazon SNS, maybe a little pixelated there, but it's Amazon Web Services. They have an SMS or SNS platform, and the reliability was there and the cost was there. So just sending individual texts or sending groups of texts, the speed, Amazon's pretty fast, so we ended up using Amazon Web Services for that. And I'll go a little bit more into that as well. So the job form, just to give you an idea of what the form looked like, we threw up a banner, we built the form in probably about 10 minutes. We said, here's what we want. We want to have some control so that poor person that's trying to write that message, they're picking from some drop downs, making really easy messaging so that when they fill it out, they know how many characters they have. They're not trying to type everything in so they have a lot of misspellings. Especially 5 o'clock in the morning, no coffee. You know, you're like, oh, let me write something really important to 2,500 people, and let's see how that goes over and over again throughout the year. And then pretty soon nobody wants to do that because then they get, ribbed in the hall for writing the wrong thing. So the Amazon Web Services, there we go. This is an idea of what you can do right off the bat. Just by turning it on, logging in, you don't have to pay a thing to set up an account for Amazon. You use it as a utility, just like, I'm not sure if you use S3 or other Amazon services, this is just one more that you can use right off the bat. You can create a topic, so ours is employee notification. We can create another topic for any other group of text messaging that we want to use. The subscription, we can have subscribers come in and they sign up and topics feed into the subscription. You can actually just publish a message in there, send text messages in the tool. So if you didn't want to build some form or something else, I could log in now and send a note to all those employees just using Amazon's system. So create a topic. It's just an idea what the forms look like in the tool. Strip them out so you guys can take a peek. Man, that Amazon just late to the party on my slides, so we'll figure that out as we go. There it is again. Create subscription. That ARN number, which is an interesting name, Amazon reference number, I'm guessing. You select that, and that's pre-populated. You don't have to remember that. I hope you never have to remember that number, but Then you just choose what method you want to do, because you can actually build this tool to do in-app. If you had an application, you could do messaging that went through the application on an iPhone or an Android. For us, we wanted to hit everybody, so we just made it phone number, SMS. And like I said, we're lazy, so we don't want to type a lot. We don't want to type all these messages for when we get a spreadsheet every month of all the new subscribers. So we wanted to figure a way to get, as our ticketing system changed, and new employees came and went, we tied that with an API to Amazon. So 2,200 subscribers. And we're lazy. That's what I want to say. So Amazon Web Services, here's the way we set it up. I'll go back here. Sorry. We use the API. So they have an API for the single or the SNS or SMS. Amazon does. And using that, we tied into ServiceNow, and we grabbed content out of there, all about the employees. Employees put their phone number in, their personal phone numbers, the regular. If we're paying for it, they put their phone numbers in. But they can also put other phone numbers in there as well. And whenever they make a change, it's fed up to that Amazon cloud. So we always have an updated list of the employees. And that was half the battle. That was the first trick. Keeping an updated list, because you never want to get that call. It's like, hey, I fought my way through the storm. Thanks for adding me to the list. Or, you don't want to get those email messages. So syncing employees is pretty important. So sending the message, we didn't want to, like I said, we're lazy. We didn't want to go in and manage it there. We wanted to use that jot form instead, because it tailored the message and it helped the person that was writing it. And we use Zapier to feed all that Amazon information, all the, who's going to get the content over to Jotform. So I wanted to give you an intro to what that Zapier tool is, because last year the slide deck was so big, I didn't really have time to talk about how cool this tool is. Like I said, it's kind of that middle of the road widget that you can plug and play from all these different apps. It's really easy to set up. There's free accounts, so you can go kick the tires on it. We pay for it because we like it. It's one of those, we've made the decision. So right off the bat, you log in and they say, hey, pick an app that you want to, talk to or talk from. And the way it's set up is they show you all the different apps that are readily available. And the way Zapier works is you set a trigger, you set something that happens in the cloud, or you can pass information from one of your internal apps. You can massage the data in between, so you can change the character length or change the date, the timestamps, and then at the end you perform some action or actions. And then you can change those. So as you add a new social media network, or if you have some other thing that comes online and you want it to send data, Zapier just sits in the middle and it cobbles things together for you. And we've used it a lot for a lot of different needs, because a lot of services are no longer housed in our site. They're in the cloud. So we had to figure out some way to when this happens over here, have this thing fire off over here. So, like I said, you can search through. We set a trigger. You can search through many, many applications, whether it's Gmail. You can see Jotform is kind of cut off there, but that was the trigger we decided on. So we set up a Jotform, and we can pick it from the list. So you can have multiple Jotforms running that feed in the data. That's a little bit blurry. Sorry about that. So I will translate it. You can format the data. This just shows an example of if you had a date or a timestamp and you want it to be friendly. And when you're working in communications, there's specific needs that you have for how a date's going to look or how data is going to look, especially when it's sent out to the public or your partners. So this lets you do it. Formatting the message. If you can see, not really see, but I'll kind of describe it because it's a little blurry. All that is I say, here's a field from Jotform. Here's what I want you to do with it. Or I'm just grabbing all the data and I say, this is the message I want you to build. And then at the bottom, you can even code things. If you're like us or me and you want to be fine-tune it, you can code anything and change anything right there. And it uses Python, JavaScript. There's a lot of different, it's built right into the tool. And then, like I said, we wanted to send that message to SNS. You can see that is one of the premium packages. That's pay to play within Zapier. But I'm always like, you bring the data in, you massage it, and then I just choose it from a drop down. Say, this is what I want the heading to be. I'm cobbling together the information, and then when it comes through, when that trigger goes off, it fires through the whole way. And why not add more? We're already here. We're already going to tell our employees that we're not going to have the doors open. So now we fire off to the employee email server. We fire off to the Facebook, Twitter, and there at the bottom we even use MailChimp for all of our citizen notifications. So we fire in and we populate a template in MailChimp, and that goes right out the door as well. And interesting with MailChimp, they didn't have, hey, fire MailChimp's tricky where it's like, hey, create a campaign, use this template, and then actually send the campaign. Those are 3 different things in MailChimp. It's not just sending one bit. So we coded it. We just said, well, here's how they say. It's like cut and paste, fill in the information. So we coded build the MailChimp campaign, pick the template and add the list, and send the campaign. And we do all that right there within Zapier. And it'll tell us if there's ever failures, it'll send us a note that said, hey, you failed here. And we can go back in and you can rerun specific steps. So if you ever fail 15 steps down, you can just go back in and make the change right there. So we already talked about the fact that JotForm, talks to Zapier. It goes off and it talks to Amazon, uses the database for ServiceNow, and it sends all that information to AT&T or Verizon. Real nice thing there is we're no longer using email addresses, so when people change their carrier, it's like, hey, I'm going to save some money. Before, when that would happen, it would drop the end of that email address, and now all those phone numbers are bad. Or worse yet, if we did that. It's like, hey, Verizon's a little more expensive. We'll do that as a company. Now all this stuff we have to go do find and replace, and hopefully we're doing the right ones. And all we had is that key, that phone number for what was there. So based on what we did here, we don't care about the phone number. Amazon doesn't care. It sends the information out via SMS, and it hits there. And we can tell when that phone number drops off. When somebody steps away, they no longer have the wrong phone number. Amazon forgets it. It drops it off, says this phone number is no longer available. So we're not getting pinged back saying, hey, guess what? Bad email, bad email, bad email. So save ourselves some sanity. And we get to add in, the other quick wins. And that's not to say that's what we have right now. But we can always bring in other social media. We can, pass it off to other mailing lists, let other cities know about our decision. We can feed into other internal systems. We can pass data saying, hey, we're shutting down for the day. Do this in this system. Or pass a banner on our website. So there's a lot that we can do just, by having it there and having the ability to control it. So the scoreboard. How do we do? So let's say we used to be about 3 hours before that last email hit somebody's mail bucket. They're sitting there throwing their keyboard. So we don't do that anymore. It takes about 3 minutes to send all the notifications out. To track them and say, yep, we did this in Zapier. I can dive into Amazon. I can say, yep, all these were sent. I can see a graph. I can say, these failed, these didn't. If it ever gets tripped up along the way, I can track where it's at in that tool. And how much does it cost? The question you guys asked earlier. It's about $30 every time we send. So it's like 0.00675 cents per send. And if I added in the $30 from the JotForm subscription, even though we use JotForm for everything under the sun, so it's kind of only already paying for itself, $30 isn't bad. And if we do it 6 times, 7 times a year, it's a lot better than the 50,000. And we can.
How much of that is the Amazon?
$30 is the Amazon. Like when I hit send, 2,500 SMS messages go out. That's $30. Yeah.
And then Zapier's separate.
Zapier, true. Because we do the SNS bit, I think Zapier runs about 50 for the premium. So we'll say $80. My slide is misleading. You've caught me in a lie. No. So we just figure that to do it, we already had Zapier. We already had the other tool, which is JotForm. So for us to make a decision and say, we want to send this out, how much is it going to cost to do it one time? It's about $30 every time we send it. And now it's a utility. And we can track it, and we can say, hey, we have 6 of them. But it is funny when you do this, because the landfill, they send about 4 out a day sometimes. And that starts to go up a little bit, but in reality, cost of doing business isn't too bad to have. I'm like, you can tell who got your text. And right now you have people showing up at the gate of the landfill and the doors are closed and they're not happy. They've come from 2 hours away. So we're, no matter how cheap you make it, there'll still be a reason to say, no, I don't want to do it. But for us, $30 is pretty good. So that is all I had for slides. I wanted to leave it open so for questions and answers and made-up answers if you had some stuff. But my info's here if you wanted to get in touch with me and ask me specific questions or technical questions. Please do it. Yeah. So are there any questions? Yeah.
Tell me a little more about ServiceNow. This is the resource you use
for ticketing.
all the employees?
Yeah. So ITIL, it's kind of an ITIL-based ticketing infrastructure. So our incidents, our management of incidents, requests, problems, all of that, our employee information, our configuration items, our CIs, they're all held within ServiceNow. So we had done all this work and continually do work to keep that up to date.
So that's where you're getting employees' personal cell phone number?
Correct. We track that personal because that's still, it is this, none of that information is public. That's our IT help desk system. That's an internal system. So we added one field to it to get the personal cell phone number.
Now, are employees able to update that themselves?
Yep,
How do you get
they
that
do.
collected from them?
They do. Within ServiceNow, you can create fields that update back-end records. And we automatically grab their employee cell phone numbers. But when it comes to their personal, it's 2 clicks. They go through our help desk system. And they say, oh, here's my record. Here's information that I can change. One of those things is their cell phone. And then we use that once they fill it out, we say, hey, if you put your phone number here, you're signing up for this service. Because that's all we're using it for right now is this notification system. So that's how we did it. So, anything else? It is okay.
What are some other things you're doing, Zapier?
Sure. So I will bring it up and we'll take a look. So maybe I'll run through what it currently does because I have it up here. So right now, Zapier, it comes in, you add these as triggers. You say, I want to go out and trigger something. And I'll minimize these so you can kind of see how that runs. Oh. So a submission comes in from Jotform. Oh, nice. Because I have my network turned off, I didn't want to get all the pings. And then let me tell them I'm still at the Hyatt. Hold on one sec. Oh, hey, they still know I'm at the Hyatt. What do you know? Let's try that again. So, actually, let's start at the top level, and I'll just show you some of the things that we're doing. So they're called zaps. Each individual thing is called a zap. The office closure is one that we're looking at there that we talked about. We have a test. Road event status system. So we talked to GIS. We have GIS data, a lot of it, and we have people that work in there. And the planning department and the team that works on the roads, they used to go in and manually do a lot of work creating these really, drawing maps and posting them on the website. And we thought, man, we can give them this GIS tool and they just draw the map, follow a curve, and they can say, we're doing work from here to here. So what we built with, as an example, I don't want to run it. That would be bad. Let's go in here and take a look at it, though. So let's see what we have. So the road event system, like I said, I hand off information to MailChimp. On this one, we're grabbing content from MailChimp. So behind the scenes of this, we have GIS. They're filling out information. They're drawing that picture. When they hit send, we have another tool or another piece of code that writes information off to MailChimp, creates a notification. Well, on the other end, I have Zapier here that said, hey, wait, I want that information too. So I grab the MailChimp campaign. I put in a if-then statement. I say, hey, only if they're saying this, because I don't want to clog the email buckets of all these poor citizens for every little change. So we put filters up. We create tweets, post to Facebook. Every team under the sun that came to us and said, hey, we really want to we want some Twitter love too. So then we can add different Twitter accounts. We'll get, we store the credentials securely. So we can now post to different Twitter accounts, different Facebook accounts, and then we can send that outbound email. So we can send one email off to say, and this one right here just says, I don't remember what I said. I think I mentioned 2001 Space Odyssey. I said, send it to myself to say, hey, it actually worked. So you can, one, remember that it went off on Thursday at 6 p.m. Some of the other stuff, landfill notifications is the one we're building right now. CMS custom cards. I'm trying to think of that one. That might be something so when someone came, this was us kind of testing it out. We do Scrum processes where people come in and they have requests. And they'll fill out a Google Doc or a Google Sheet. And this one, they'd fill out a request and would create a Trello card on our board. Like, hey, here's some stuff we could work on. And then if we worked on it, we'd say, yeah, we'll move that into the to-do pile, or we would kindly delete it and tell them, hey, we're not going to do that. But there's a lot that you can do. And like I said, we picked it specifically at the time for the REST, the Road Event Status System, but it came in really handy when we did the office closures. And like I said, you can add, we didn't do much coding in the first tool, but we did a lot in the second one with ServiceNow, with some of the other things that we did. But yeah, you can explore, you can turn things on or off, you can test it, and the price is right, to go out there and try it out.
So what's the fee for this actor?
Let's find out. My professional plan, as you can see, I'm using all 4 of 50 tasks. Let's see what my settings are. Billing. No, you pay a monthly, and you get a certain number of zaps. $50 a month. So $50 a month. I go in, I have access to my Amazon. There's some other premium ones that we haven't really used yet. But for us, we just were, at the time, planning to get our website into the cloud. So it's Pantheon hosted. We've got a lot of services that we turn on all the time. We're using Amazon. We're using a lot of things go through Twitter. So we're doing a lot that we would love to schedule or say, if this happens, do this. So we're just kind of barely scratching the surface, but we've done enough to where it really pays for itself and helps us out immensely. Yeah. Drupal. So and that's why, so JotForm, that's why JotForm came up, because we had no idea what we were going to use when we decided. We kind of had an idea, but it wasn't on, it wasn't turned on, we didn't have it running. Drupal, they have one that they're building, but we'll probably build our own because it's API. You can write towards an API, you can push information that way. And that's what we like about it, is they're not locking you down to certain services. You can kind of build your own. So anytime you see that little orange button in any one of our zaps, office closures or the tests or road, those are things that you kind of build and fine tune and pass data around via JSON. So it is a really nice service. And it's also, not just to be the technical side, but you can also do a lot of stuff just by saying, look at this, sign in one time, when this happens, take this information and send it out. You don't have to be very technical to use it, but it can grow with your needs, I guess. So, but like I said, that is all she wrote for the presentation side of things. If you guys, like I said, want to contact me, there we go. If you want to contact me, or we can get connected on LinkedIn, send me a note, and we can follow up. So that's it. That's all I have for today.